Hello all, welcome to Gurukul CAT 100 series, a series designed to take you from your study room to your corporate boardroom. I am Deepak and this is Daily Quant with Deepak. Hi all, welcome back to day 99 of 100 days to CAT Quant series. In this video, we'll be discussing 5 questions from Quant. So whenever a question is displayed on the screen, pause the video, try solving that question. Once you're done solving, you can resume the video. If you find this video helpful, like the video, share this video with your friends who are preparing for CAT, and most importantly, for more videos of this kind, subscribe to this channel. In case if you want to attempt these 5 questions in the form of a test, you can log into our portal, the gurukul.org.in. The link is already in the description. Now, once you click that link, you'll get enrolled to a course called 100 Days Race to CAT, in which there will be 3 sections: Quant, LRD, and VRs. We have uploaded 100 tests in each section, so that on an overall you'll be getting 300 tests to practice approximately 1500 questions, which we consider to be a good amount of or good number of questions in the last stages of your preparation. And these tests are absolutely for free. And without any further delay, let's get started. Coming to the first question, the length of 3 sides of a triangle are 17, 25 and 26 centimeters. Find the length of the radius of the largest circle inscribed inside the triangle. So indirectly we are asked to find the Inradius. Right. Given with 3 sides, I can find area of the triangle using Heron's formula, which is nothing but under root s into s minus a into s minus b into s minus. Right. And we know that area is nothing but Inradius into semi-perimeter. Now what is semi-perimeter? Perimeter by 2. So a plus b plus c by 2, where a, b and c are the length of the sides of the triangle. So here the lengths of the sides of the triangle are given to be 17, 25 and 26. 17 plus 25, 42, 42 plus 26 is 58. Right. Sorry, 42 plus 26 is 68. So 68 by 2, 34. So semi-perimeter is 34. Done. So let us find the area. So area will be under root 34 into 34 minus 17. 17 into 34 minus 25. 9 into 34 minus 26. 8. Right. So what do we have here? Under root 34 into 17 into 2. 34 into 9 into 4. So we have 34 into 3 into 2. So 34 into 6. 30 into 6 is 180. 4 into 6 is 24. 180 plus 24. 204 is the area of the triangle. Right. So 204 should be equal to r into 34, and we have just calculated. Right. So 34, 6, 204. So the radius of the largest circle inscribed inside the triangle, which is nothing but the Inradius, is 6 units. Now coming to the second question. There are 2 containers of equal volume. The first container is half filled with pure acid and the second container was half filled with pure water. Half the content of the first container is transferred to the second container. Then 1/3 of this mixture from the second container is transferred back to the first container. Next, 1/4 of the content of the first container is transferred back to second container. Then the ratio of acid to water in the second container is. So if you observe, we have half filled. So we have 1/2 into. Now we have half the content of the first container being transferred to second container. Again 1/2 into 1/3 of this mixture from second container is transferred to first container into 1/3, and at the last we have 1/4 of the content of the first container is transferred back to second container. So we'll be having 1/2 into 1/2 1/3 and 1/4. Right. So just to avoid a fraction, I'll consider the volume, the full volume of the 2 containers to be 2 into 2, 4, 4, 4, 16, 16 into 3, 48x. Right. So instead of considering the volume as x, I'll be considering the volume as 48x just to avoid fractions. So we have 2 containers with 48x liters capacity. Now they are half filled. So the first container has pure acid, 24x liters pure acid, and second container has 24x liters pure water. Now half the content of the first container is transferred to second container. So we have acid and water. Now acid water. Now, half of this means 12x. 12x is transferred to the second container. So, you'll be having 24x liters of water and 12x liters of acid. Now, again, so this will be having 12x liters of acid. Now, one third of this mixture from the first container. Now, what is the ratio of acid to water? 1 is to 2. Right. Now, what is the volume of solution in second container? 12x plus 24x, 36x. Right. Now, from this, one third of the mixture from the second container. So that means 12x liters is being removed, in which 4x will be acid and 8x will be water. Right. Now this is removed. So after removal, you will be having 8x liters of acid and 16x liters of water in that. And this is transferred to the first container. So you will be having 4x liters of acid and 8x liters of water. So now you will be having 16x liters of acid and 8x liters of water. So the ratio of acid and water in the first container is 2 is to 1. So you have a total of 24x liters now. Okay. Then 1/4 of the content of the first container is transferred. Now 1/4 of 24x. So 6x is being transferred. Right. Now in this 6x, the ratio of acid to water is 2 is to 1. So 4x will be acid and 2x will be water. So you will be left with 12x acid and 6x water, and this 6x is transferred to the second container. So 4x acid and 2x water is now being transferred to the second container. So in total you will be having 8x plus 4x, 12x amount of acid and 18x amount of water. Now what was that? Then the ratio of acid to water in the second container is 12x is to 8x, 2 is to 3. Hence option A should be the answer to this question. Now coming to the third question. In an election, there were 4 candidates. Exactly a fifth of the registered voters did not cast their votes. One of the candidates received votes from 30% of the total registered voters, while the other 3 candidates received the remaining votes actually cast in proportion 5 is to 4 is to 3. If the winner of the election beat the runner-up by a margin of double to two votes, then the number of registered voters was, right. So let me consider that there were 100x registered voters, out of which 1/5 of the registered voters did not cast their votes. So 20x did not cast their votes. Only 80x votes are cast. Right. Now one of the candidates, so we have 4 candidates, candidate 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now one of the candidates received votes from 30% of the total registered voters. So total registered voters is 100x. Now what is 30% of 100x? 30x. Now, if we had got 30x votes of these 80x votes, so there were 50x remaining votes, and these were cast in proportion 5 is to 4 is to 3. So 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 3 is 12, right? So the second contestant would have got 5 by 12 into 50x, the third 4 by 12 into 50x, and fourth 3 by 12 into 50x. Done. Now, if the winner of the election beat the runner-up by a margin of 2,222 votes, then the number of registered voters was. Right. Now, 5 into 50, 250x by 12, 200x by 12, 150x by 12. And we have 30x. Right. Now, I can say that 250x by 12 is less than 30x. So, candidate 1 was the winner and 2 was the runner-up. And we are given with the difference between the votes received by these 2 candidates. So, 30x minus 250x by 12 is given to be double 2. Okay. Now 30x into 12, 360. 360 minus 250 is 110x. 110x by 12 is given to be 22. Now 11 tens, 11 202s. So this implies 10x is nothing but 2424. Now, what was asked? Then the number of registered voters was. Now we have considered the registered voters to be 100x. If 10x is equal to 2424. Now the 100x, the value of 100x will be 24,240. Hence option D becomes the answer to this question. Now coming to the next question, which of the following options has a different digit in units place from the other three? 47 power 5 factorial. So we have a number ending with 7. Now what is the cyclicity of 7? 4. Right. Now 5 factorial is divisible by 4. Right. So what will be the units digit in the place of 47 power 4k? 1. Any odd number and except for 5, any number ending with an odd number other than 5, right, when raised to a power of 4k will always end with 1. Now 47 power 47, now we know that the cyclicity of 7 is 4, right? So 47 divided by 4, what is the remainder? 3. So we have 7 power 3. Now 7 power 3 ends with what? 3. Right? So the units place of 47 power 47 is 3. Now 69 power 9 factorial. Again, 9 factorial is a multiple of 4. So we have a number ending with 9 raised to the power 4k will also end with 1. Now 23 power 28. So 3 power 28 is a multiple of 4. Now this will also end with 1. So among the 4 options, option A, option C and option D have numbers ending with 1, whereas option B is ending with 3. Hence option B should be the answer to this question. Now coming to the last question. If n is an integer such that log n base 4 minus 3 into log n to the base 3 minus 4 is less than 0. Right? Then the number of possible values of n is. Now for this to be less than 0, either this should be positive and this should be negative, or this should be negative and this should be positive. Right? Now let me consider this being positive first and this being negative first. So log n power 4 minus 3 is greater than 0. Then what do we have? Log n to the base 4 should be greater than 3, or n should be greater than 4 cube, which is nothing but 64. Now this being negative, log n to base 3 minus 4 less than 0. Now log n to base 3 should be less than 4, or n should be less than 3 power 4, which is 81. So if I consider this to be positive and this to be negative, n's value should be greater than 64 and less than 81. So it can assume all the values from 65 to 80. So 80 minus 65 is 15, including both plus 1. So we have 16 values of n, assuming this to be positive and this to be negative. Now if I assume this to be negative, log n to base 4 minus 3 should be less than 0. So we'll be having n less than 64, right? And this positive. So then you'll be having n greater than 81, right? So n should be less than 64, n should be greater than 81. So this is a null set. We do not have any value of n satisfying both the inequalities. So this is a null set, right? So in total, how many values do we have? We have 16 values when this is positive and this is negative, right? So the answer for this question should be 16.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.